This is my first time serving as MC for this award ceremony, so thank you so much. I think that should happen at the end, not the beginning, but that's okay. Well, for the 40th consecutive year, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee is hosting this ceremony to honor very noteworthy faculty and staff. We welcome all of our colleagues to the celebration, all of you who are here in the ballroom and those who are joining us virtually. Over the course of the next hour or so, we will honor 31 individuals who have made or are making extremely valuable contributions to our university. We know their contributions are enormously valuable because the awardees were nominated by their peers. And we all know our peers, they are the most discerning and thorough judges. The university organizations make announcements every year throughout the year about nominating individuals for the awards that we will bestow today. If you would like more information about the nominating procedure, please contact the Office of the Secretary of the University. Please join me in recognizing those from the UWM community who are helping us with our program this afternoon. Our musical interludes in today's program are provided by Don Linke. Don was a lecturer in jazz guitar here at UWM. He taught at the college level for more than 30 years and continues to be one of the most notable jazz guitarists in this area. This is his 19th year providing musical interludes for our annual ceremony. Thank you, Don. Helping our presenters on stage this afternoon is Susan Cashin, clinical professor in College of Health Science. Thank you, Susan. Our American Sign Language interpreter today is Jill Kinahan Cry. Thank you, Jill. Finally, I would like to welcome to the stage the leader of our university. Will you all please join me in welcoming UWM Chancellor Mark Money.
Thank you, Dr. Vang, and welcome everyone. Isn't it wonderful to be here in person? It's just terrific. It's just so nice. I know we're also streaming, and you're welcome to see us live streaming. That's wonderful to have you. And just walking across campus, being able to interact with our students, other faculty, staff that we can visit with. This is what it's all about in terms of building our community. And today, we get to recognize so many individuals who have helped make our community what it is, help us achieve the incredible milestones and do those things in so many ways. And I'm starting to get dirty looks from some of the folks who've said, Mark, you're off the script. So I'll pay attention to the script, but I just can't help but emote, if you will, in terms of really sharing how I feel. So I do want to start with a couple of themes that I've talked about in the plenary, that I've shared with the regents and others over the last several months. We have a unique responsibility, UWM does, and it's about how we respond to needs, and it's how we engage in a way that there's no other campus that really does that, not just in this region, but really across the state, at the scale, with the type of impact, and truly the types of life-changing, transformational activities that we all engage in. We respond to Wisconsin's challenges and we help solve them. Employment, we could write a book or many books about the talent pipeline and how we have filled that with 200,000 alumni, the majority of whom remain in the state of Wisconsin. Economic development in terms of whether it's business startups, whether it's providing the R&D or the reasons why so many companies remain here, the corporate headquarters that remain here because of us giving answers to today and tomorrow's needs in organizations, whether it's healthcare, manufacturing, financial services, and beyond. Education is one of the leading providers of teachers, of administrators, really helping make a difference. So delighted to have our wonderful colleagues from the School of Education who are going to be helping us honor someone who I'll not to steal our thunder from later today, but clearly the impact in education, helping Wisconsin be a real pioneer in many, many different educational areas. Public health, we could go on at length. The only school of public health, the state of Wisconsin, that's got the credentials that we have from CEPH. The only school of freshwater sciences, not just at the graduate level, but today at the undergraduate level as well, and well beyond. So we work with others, and that's a key idea. Working with others is essential because the challenges and the opportunities are so significant that no one organization can begin to address them. So collaboration is in our DNA, and we make that difference by participating and oftentimes leading the major initiatives in this region. It's something we should all be so proud of. But ultimately, it's about advocacy, influence, policy changes, particularly for underrepresented communities. As an access institution, we have this in our DNA. And no matter how many accomplishments we have made, we have yet to begin to scratch the surface, the real issues that exist in a racist society, in a racist type of organization that is just too commonly taken for granted. So we have to work harder. And the issues that I'm so proud of Chia for having helped lead and building on the great accomplishments of Joan Prince, but really in an important way for our diversity, equity, and inclusion framework. That's something that we're very, very committed to and want to continue to grow in those areas. So we've had a lot of impact in this region. We've had a lot of impact, a lot of things that we can do. And I especially think about the heroics involved with the COVID-19 responses and how important our university is and will continue to be as we go forward. We've been recognized as a healthcare champion because of the types of things that we've not only done for our campus, but especially for and in our community. With the number of vaccines exceeding today 19,000, with the number of tests exceeding 70,000, it's nothing short of phenomenal in terms of how we have contributed so much, as well as the public stances that we've taken. So throughout the ceremony today, you're going to hear about the remarkable accomplishments of many of the individuals who helped make those and many other changes happen. I think you'll be impressed with and incredibly proud of our colleagues, as certainly I am. So, Chia, back to you. Will you please tell us about our first award category?
Thank you, Chancellor. Our first awards category today is the Faculty Distinguished Undergraduate Teaching Award. These awards recognize demonstrated excellence in classroom teaching and include a certificate as well as a $1,500 check. Chancellor Moni, you will distribute the full honors to our colleagues.
Thank you, Chia. Associate Professor of English and Gender, Sexuality, and Women's Studies, Lisa Hager from the College of General Studies, has had a positive impact on audiences since she joined our Waukesha campus in 2000. Here's what Lisa's nominator had to say. Quote, for fall 2020, Dr. Hager put together a module for students which provided mental health resource links and tips on success during stressful times. She created instructional videos for instructors showing how to use Teams to communicate with students. Dr. Hager has displayed her excellence in teaching and fostering a healthy environment for her students. That's high praise for Lisa and shows the powerful impact that she has had in her classroom and well beyond. Lisa, could you please come join us on the stage today? So I don't think it's been mentioned that we will not be shaking hands today. I apologize for not saying that earlier. And you'll also see us socially distanced with respect to our spots that we'll be having our pictures taken from. So please understand it's not quite the same as what it had been. It's not because I wouldn't like to shake your hand, but it's, I think, probably appropriate. So that's where we are. So moving on to the second award. Since she came to UWM in 2013, Associate Professor of Sociology and Urban Studies, Aki Roberts, has taught social statistics courses to students of sociology and criminal justice. One of Aki's students and her nominator, described how she goes above and beyond in setting students up for future success. This was especially true during the pandemic, when she reached out to overwhelmed students with empathy, compassion, and academic aid. Quote, "She created and coordinated the new Quantitative Social Data Analytics Certificate program. By doing so, she not only elevated student involvement in social statistics, but also provided students with additional credentialing for entering the workforce or graduate programs," unquote. You've made quite an impression on our students, and your students specifically, Aki. Will you please join me on stage to receive your award? Tricia Wessel, an associate professor of psychology and education at the College of General Studies, has acquired a reputation as a reflective and engaging scholar. Tricia's nominators say, quote, "She designs her courses to place much of the responsibility for learning in the hands of students. Her courses are rigorous, but they are designed in such a way that they both challenge her strongest students and help underprepared students to be successful by helping students figure out how to study." Those are high words of praise. Tricia enjoys the challenge of working with students and was one of the first professors to volunteer to teach the new first-year bridge program that the College of General Studies is offering on the main campus this fall. My congratulations and thanks to you, Tricia. Will you please come forward?
Our second award category today is the Faculty Distinguished University Service Award. This award recognizes and rewards outstanding service to the university. This year's recipients will receive a certificate and $1,500, which will be awarded by Chancellor Mone.
Well, thank you again, Professor Vang. Professor Clark Evans served as program chair for 6 years of the Atmospheric Science program, who took student recruitment and retention as a personal calling. His nominator said, quote, "Clark has overseen a reinvigoration of our undergraduate and graduate programs by spearheading highly effective recruitment efforts. These efforts have turned our enrollments around to levels that we have not seen in over a decade, all despite institutional enrollment declines." Quote, "Clark has facilitated student retention largely by inspiring a shift toward more active faculty engagement. Many of our current undergraduate students participate in externally funded research experiences and have received prestigious national awards. Scholarships, more than half are supported as research fellows and or through the Innovative Weather Program. We sincerely thank you, Clark, for making UWM a better place through your service. Would you please come forward?" Associate Professor Hanju Lee's service to the Department of Psychology is, as his nominator says, exemplary and extraordinary. He has chaired or served on 7 departmental committees, the UWM Institution Review Board, more than 60 thesis and dissertation committees. He is the director of the Anxiety Disorders Laboratory. One nominator told us, "When campus closed with the pandemic, our clinical psychology training clinic needed to shift from conducting in-person therapy and assessment using a paper record to a virtual clinic using electronic health records. Dr. Lee spent innumerable hours setting up a system and teams to allow for virtual therapy, and even more impressively built an electronic health record system from scratch. This allowed our clients to continue to receive services and our students to continue their training. Hanju, we are grateful for your incredible service. Would you please come forward? Associate Professor of English, Siobhan Watson, arrived at UWM in 2015 and soon took on the role of directing the first-year composition program. This is not a small program. It offers 300 sections each year with 100 instructors teaching 6,000 students entering UWM. But she didn't stop there. As one of her nominators said, quote, Siobhan has made significant innovations that positively impact UWM students even before their first day on campus. Another nominator said, quote, Professor Watson's leadership and university service reflect her deep commitment to addressing inclusivity and community engagement, unquote. As a result of her leadership in M-cubed dual enrollment programs and the Summer Bridge program, more than 200 underserved MPS students were able to earn 4 credits of English 100 while still in high school. Congratulations, Siobhan. Would you please join me to receive this award?
Our third award category today is the Faculty Distinguished Public Service Award. This award recognizes and rewards outstanding service in Milwaukee and the entirety of the state of Wisconsin, contributed to the public good. This year's recipients will receive certificates as well as a $1,500 check that they will share, and Chancellor Moni will present that.
Thank you, Chia. This year, as an unusual departure from our past, we have a group award. I'm pleased to recognize Associate Professor Portia Cobb, Associate Professor Leslie Harris, and Associate Professor Aaron Salstein Purcell for their work on the Powerful Voices of Gun Violence project. As one of their nominators said, quote, the project brings awareness and preserves a public record of the devastating toll of gun violence. The Voices of Gun Violence's interactive website has an archive of stories told by people who have lost a loved one to gun violence. It's impossible to listen to even a few of these narratives and then reduce these deaths to faceless statistics. Preserving the stories gives the narrators an opportunity to heal and is also a prompt for visitors to take action to work against gun violence, unquote. Another nominator and a survivor of gun violence said, quote, these ladies have been instrumental in providing a voice for survivors of gun violence in a therapeutic and purposeful way that showcases their resilience after loss, unquote. Portia, Leslie, and Aaron, thank you for this important public service. Will you please come up?
Our next honors this afternoon are the Office of Research and UW Foundation Research Awards. 4 UWM faculty members are being honored for outstanding research and scholarship as recipients of the Office of Research and UW Foundation Research Awards. Each of the recipients will receive a certificate and $1,500. This marks the 43rd consecutive year that the Office of Research and UWM Foundation have presented these awards, with funds generously provided by the Anna Casper Endowment. Presenting these awards today is Vice Provost for Research, Mark Harris.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Chair. It's really great to be here today to celebrate our colleagues. But first, I want to acknowledge the funding support, in addition to acknowledging the funding support we received for these awards. I'd like to thank the Committee of UWM Distinguished Professors for its work in evaluating the nominations for the Research Awards and making recommendations. So, let's start. Ira Driscoll is an Associate Professor of Psychology and considered a pioneer in the field of brain health and aging. Ira's primary research emphasis is on the detection of early changes in brain morphology that can predict the emergence of cognitive defects, particularly dementia. She is particularly interested in the hippocampus and the role that hormones and genetics play in age-related cognitive decline. She innovates by using a wide array of sophisticated imaging and behavioral techniques together in her work. She is a dedicated educator, mentoring students at every level, from high school to postdoctoral fellows. Her nominator writes, Ira is a highly productive scientist that has a consistent track record of innovative and multidisciplinary research. Her science is highly regarded by her peers, both domestically and internationally. Ira, will you please join me to accept this award? Associate Professor of History, Caroline Eichner, is an internationally recognized scholar of French feminist studies. Her work is cutting edge in revealing the roles of women in the French Revolution, which previously languished in historical obscurity. The freshness and originality of her work comes from branching out into new topics, including French imperialism and colonialism. Much of her work has been translated into French. Her first book is regularly used in women, gender, and French history courses. One of her nominees writes, Eichner's scholarship has already acquired the depth and breadth that makes her a leading figure in feminist studies, that her articles and essays have been published both nationally and internationally, endorses the esteem she has gained as a researcher and a scholar. Caroline cannot be here with us today. Will you please join me in congratulating her? Today we have an uncommon occurrence. We will be honoring someone for the second time today. Professor of Mathematics, Clark Evans, has achieved international distinction in the field of atmospheric science. Clark has an extensive record of societally relevant, externally funded research on high-impact weather. He regularly collaborates with the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, and the Storm Prediction Center. This work includes investigations into how forecasters use ensemble numerical weather prediction guidance, research into the influence of sea surface temperature uncertainty on short-range forecast of severe weather events, and research into whether high-resolution weather prediction models can represent severe storm and fire weather environments effectively. A long-term colleague writes, Dr. Evans is a brilliant thinker, a well-respected scientist, a patient listener and team builder, and a generous colleague who proactively contributes his time, expertise, and energy across a broad array of projects. Congratulations, Clark, on your second award today. Will you please come to the stage? Associate Professor of Chemistry, Nick Salvaggi's research in structural biology and enzymology has made a tremendous impact. Nick was recruited to UWM as part of a unique cluster to establish the Milwaukee Institute of Drug Discovery, which blends research in chemistry and related disciplines to generate novel treatment of major diseases. Nick's primary contribution is in the determination of molecular structures and complex biological systems by applying his expertise in X-ray crystallography. This core expertise makes Nick a highly sought-after collaborator at UWM and beyond. His recent contributions expanded our knowledge about SARS-CoV-2 with respect to structure and possible therapeutic approaches. His nominators said, Nick is an outstanding departmental citizen who cares deeply about the department, the college, the university, and the community at large. Nick is not able to be here today. Will you please join me in a round of applause?
Now our next series of recognition today is for the Office of Research UWM Foundation Senior Faculty Research Awards. These awards are designed to recognize researchers who have a long history of significant contributions to their field of research. Our three recipients will each receive a certificate and a $1,500 check. Mark Harris will distribute these awards.
Thank you again, Chia. Professor of English and Theater, Ann Bastings is an innovative scholar who has received major recognition, including Guggenheim, Ashoka, and MacArthur fellowships. Her nominators said, her scholarship is a model of interdisciplinary. Most notable is Dr. Bastings' development of innovative care practices for people with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Her Time Slips storytelling initiative has brought creative, story-based care to this population. Combining her expertise in theater, public health, and study of aging has led to robust breakthroughs in knowledge and practice across these fields, making a material difference in the lives of many. Her accomplishments stand apart because they grow from such a rich composite of talents: the intellectual charge of an academic, the imagination of a poet and playwright, and the passion of a social justice advocate. Congratulations, and thank you, Anne. Would you please come to the stage? Bonnie Klein Tasman is a professor of psychology who is changing lives of children and families all over the world. Bonnie's scholarly and practical work is with children living with rare, genetically based neurodevelopment conditions. Her research team collects longitudinal data that has allowed them to begin asking questions about the pattern of specific difficulties at specific developmental periods. This data is essential for clinicians and educators, but it is rarely available. Bonnie is the director of the UWM Child Neuropsychology Specialty Clinic, which offers the only gold standard assessment service available in Milwaukee, and does so using a sliding scale model that protects accessibility. When her nominators describe Bonnie, they use phrases such as significant impact, high level of demand, dedicated educator, and valued colleague. Congratulations and thank you, Bonnie. Won't you please join me on stage? Well, it's not often that I'm able to recognize a co-presenter at this ceremony, but today it is my pleasure to do so. Professor of History, Chia Vang, is globally known for her prolific scholarly work in Asian American history. Her nominator said, Chia's work brings history alive and demonstrates how human beings all embody histories despite social differences. The breadth of Chia's research intersects and dovetails with various fields, such as community studies, gender studies, veteran studies, and immigration. Chia brings these valuable insights to her new role as UWM's first interim Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, where she continues to lead and advise on DEI initiatives across campus. Her nominator said, Chia is the foremost historian of Hmong community and a highly influential pioneering figure, especially as the first Hmong person to achieve full professorship in the country and at an R1 university. You've made quite an impression, Chia. Hearty congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate that very much. Next up today is the UWM Foundation Research in the Humanities Award, which is given biannually. This award recognizes outstanding scholarship and research in the humanities. There are two recipients who will receive a certificate and a $1,500. Mark will present again.
Elena Levine is a professor of English specializing in media, cinema, and digital studies, and author of Her Stories, Daytime Soap Opera in U.S. Television History. Her nominator highlighted the significance of Elena's treatment of gender dynamics in discourse on television and soap operas. Quote, her story is not an independent her story running behind the main his story of American television. It is American television history, a lens through which to see the economic, creative, technological, social, and experimental path of television across 70 years that exposes its gendered structure. It is an impeccably presented research project, a case study in how to handle a complex set of methods, literature reviews, archival research, ethnographical material, and textual analysis with deceptive ease and uncommon grace. Congratulations, Elena. Will you please come forward? Mark Netzloff is also a professor of English and author of Writing Beyond the State, English Travelers, Soldiers, and Diplomats in Early Modern Europe. His nominator wrote that Mark shows how theories of England's emergence as a nation must account for the activities of its agents beyond its territorial borders, including its colonies. He considers functions of spies, diplomats, soldiers who carried state authority beyond England, and sometimes with interests that conflicted with that authority. Mark illustrates how concepts of nationhood relate to questions of sovereignty and state formation. His monograph contributes to multiple fields: literary studies, travel, diplomacy studies, political theory, and studies of nationalism and state power, and will seal his reputation as one of the 3 or 4 top scholars in the field. Thank you for your contribution, Mark. Please join me on stage.
Three individuals are being recognized this afternoon with the Academic Staff Outstanding Performance and Service Award. These people are recognized for continuing excellence in their assigned duties, plus in their service to the university, community, and professional organizations. These awards include $1,500 for each recipient, and for these awards, we welcome Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Johannes Bridz.
Thank you very much, Chia, and also congratulations on your award. It is wonderful to be here today, and as the Chancellor said, it's great to see people, even though you sometimes don't always recognize everybody with the mask and not having seen people for a long time. Clinical Associate Professor Heidi Plock's work in occupational therapy tends to focus on mental health, especially as related to military veterans. But Heidi, you excelled in your work as academic fieldwork coordinator during the pandemic. And Heidi, I'm just quoting here, one of your nominators said, Heidi used a guiding principle that our OT students are future healthcare professionals and must be prepared to perform their duties under difficult circumstances, including a global pandemic. So Heidi reached out to her 400 trusted clinical partners to learn what safety precautions were in place, how these protections could be extended to her students, and then pulled those who were not safe off their placements for a reassignment. She also worked with clinical partners to secure enough safe placements to meet the accreditation as well as academic standards, and also she worked with the graduate school to ensure that her students graduate on schedule. Wonderful work, Heidi. Congratulations, and will you please come forward? Thank you, Heidi. Then, Jean Seltzer. Jean is the director of the UWM's Career Planning and Resource Center, and she believes that empowering others to follow their path will lead to great things. As an innovative thought leader and as an advocate for UWM's Black and Indigenous people of color community, Jean helped establish the Multicultural Networks Advocacy and Resource Development Subcommittee. And Jean, I'm quoting here, Her love for advocacy is bar none, and it's very true here, and she does not cut corners when articulating student needs. Jean's work nationally with the Association of Higher Education and Disability looks past what appears to be barriers and instead implements programs to seek to include these students. Jean, there's another quote. Jean demonstrates the love and kindness that we all want of our staff to have and to show to our students. I thought that was very thoughtful. Jean is committed to helping all students, regardless of label or background, to succeed. Jean, thanks for all that you've done. Congratulations, and will you please come forward? Keep up that good work, Jean. Then Ramona Sledge, Multicultural Student Success Coordinator, has been serving students for more than 20 years. But that's just the start. Her nominator said, and I quote, "Ramona is truly the embodiment of a servant leader. Her exemplary performance reflects her true commitment to helping Black and Indigenous people of color succeed." Ramona chairs the planning committee of the Summit on Black Male Youth, which has raised nearly $500,000 to bring Milwaukee Public Schools as well as Chicagoland High School students to UW for a one-day powerhouse conference with nationally recognized male speakers. Ramona, and here is another quote, which I also did not know. "What is least known about Ramona is that she works sometimes 12 to 14 hours here on campus, only to leave campus by bus to assist seniors at a nearby memory care center. She is truly a remarkable person," and I agree. I offer you my congratulations, Ramona, and will you please come forward?
The next commendation this afternoon is for the Academic Staff Outstanding Teaching Award. The award includes a certificate and $1,500, and again, Provost will be delivering all of these awards to these wonderful colleagues.
Thank you, Chia. And Ramona, I just want to say, continue to do the good work. Ali Gattoni in the Department of Communication takes a holistic approach to teaching that motivates learning. Her nominators said, and I quote, there is one quote here, Ali, Dr. Gattoni is an outstanding educator and a leader in educational innovation and pedagogy at the university. She deeply motivates students and makes contributions which, and between students, that foster deep learning as well as retention. Dr. Gattoni's excitement for teaching and learning is truly contagious, making it easy to digest complex course material and learn translational teaching methods. And Ali, here is another wonderful quote. As one of your students said, Ali was the greatest teacher I had. I can honestly say that she touched my life and helped me grow into the student and the person I am today, influencing my academic path and life in an extremely positive way. What a wonderful testimony. Will you please join me in a round of applause and welcome Ali to the stage. Wonderful work, Ali. Thank you very much. Then Kimberly Hernandez, she is a senior lecturer in the Department of History, successfully integrates research into all of her courses. Nigel, I think you would appreciate that a lot. Yeah, when I read it, I thought you would like that a lot, what Kimberly is doing. This integration launches many students into ongoing research projects that they have continued beyond her class and have shared findings, their findings on the national as well as international stage. Kimberly, your nominator, said, and I quote, "She is a nationally recognized historian of immigration and urban history, which also makes an important role model to students in our department." And another quote, "Dr. Hernandez's work with Panther Executives in Pink, where she mentors women and LGBT+ students who plan careers in fields that have traditionally been hostile or close to them." And Kimberly, one of your students, said, "I can easily say that her teaching style and courses have impacted me more than I could have ever imagined." Wonderful. You made a great contribution, huge impression, Kimberly. Will you please come forward? Kimberly, I will ask Nigel now to buy you coffee as well as an appreciation for all the work. Senior Lecturer of Philosophy, Matt Nichols' student evaluations show the extraordinary length he will go to motivate and to support his students. Matt teaches logic, and I went to the website in philosophy to study a little bit of the stuff that you're doing, Matt, a subject that many students might find difficult or sometimes might find boring. His nominator said in his evaluations, he makes the course material engaging, enjoyable, and even fun. And what you might not know, Matt also makes short videos of himself solving a logic problem as an innovative study guide. He has written his own textbook. He offers it as open access at no cost to the students. And this textbook is so popular, not just for his own students, but it has been downloaded more than 20,000 times in 154 different countries. This is truly remarkable. Well done, Matt. And Matt recently also, he's smart, he said, he also led efforts to secure Philosophy 111 as a GER course, jointly offered with math, giving the non-STEM students majors an alternative to the traditional math courses. Thank you for your wonderful contributions, Matt, and will you please come to the stage?
So 4 individuals are being recognized this afternoon with the University Staff Outstanding Service Award. We will learn of their extraordinary performances that have had significant impact on the university. Each receives $1,500 along with their awards. Presenting them is Robin Van Harpen, who is our Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administrative Affairs.
Thank you, Chia. I'm delighted to be here in person for this wonderful event today. Therese Bone is the manager of training and documentation for UWITS. She is an unsung hero, and this past year, her contributions were even more extraordinary. Her nominators said, when the pandemic hit, Therese immediately started work to expand our training for Teams. At that time, we were prepared only to roll out Teams calling. Suddenly, there was an immediate demand for all of the functionality of Teams. That Therese was the first person at UWM to learn the Teams Live event feature, used a lot by the Chancellor in his open forums, and then held UWM's first Teams Live event in just 2 weeks is incredible. IT services is the combination of technology, processes, and people. Therese is a passionate advocate that the people part isn't overlooked, making sure our services are inclusive across our diverse community. Therese, please come forward and allow us to show our appreciation with this award. Keith Emmons, manager of the Windows Device Management Group, also rose to the occasion of our technology needs during the disruption of the pandemic. When campus closed, Keith redirected his team to respond. His nominator said, Keith did his research, and over the weekend, he built server prototypes to connect thousands of students to pools of remote computers on campus. Within weeks, the remote lab service opened for all students. It's because of Keith's personal dedication and ingenuity that this vital new service was functional in such a short time. Throughout the pandemic, Keith kept up with the increased demands of responding to instructors and students, working day and night, while taking extra one-on-one meetings with his staff to ensure that they were avoiding burnout and getting the support they needed. Thank you so much, Keith. Will you please come forward and accept this award? As the doctoral retention advisor in the graduate school, Shane Hanskin manages progress of all UWM doctoral students. During COVID-19, he assumed several extraordinary responsibilities. His nominator described them as rescues. When the newest version of doctoral milestone software was released, its glitches stopped the progress of hundreds of doctoral students. Shane worked with the developers and campus technology to get back online while creating manual procedures in the interim. When complications led to a delay in graduation processing, Shane and a team member spent 2 months clearing up the backlog and creating new processes to prevent recurrence. One student said, "You're the glue that keeps the department going." Another said, "The human component you put in is inspiring and supportive. My gratitude toward you is infinite. You have made quite an impression." Shane, will you please join me on the stage? Academic Department Specialist Lauren Wizorik manages the Geosciences Department and so much more. Her nominator said, due to losses with budget cuts and the pandemic, Lauren has been doing the work of 3 department staff. She also supports the conservation and environmental sciences and biosciences programs, which are also understaffed. In my opinion, Lauren has been pulling a heavy, superhuman load. Geology is a field science. Without the ability to get into the field, no new science can be accomplished. Lauren's attention to details has allowed us to conduct teaching and research all over the world. Her department chair said, "I often view Lauren as a co-chair of the department. I know that with her running it, we are in knowledgeable, competent hands." Although Lauren couldn't be with us today, please join me in congratulating her.
Thank you, Robin, and I'd like to also offer my congratulations to you, Dr. Vang. Wonderful, wonderful award. Before we conclude honoring our amazing university staff, today I have a very special announcement to make. Every year, the UW System Board of Regents presents annual awards to our colleagues at campuses across the state of Wisconsin. This year, they created a new award, and a member of our UW-Milwaukee campus community was chosen to be recognized with this very special honor. Academic Department Associate Brenda Cullen was selected to receive the inaugural Regents University Staff Excellence Award individual category for her 42 years of superb contributions to UWM. Brenda serves as office manager in the Department of Economics and is also known for her exemplary community service, from organizing a school supply drive with UWM Police Department for La Follette School to painting inspirational messages on MLK Day at Vincent High School. The Board of Regents presented her with the award last week during their meeting at UW-Oshkosh. Thank you, Brenda, for representing the best of UWM to our statewide colleagues. Please join me in a round of applause to congratulate Brenda for this well-deserved recognition. And she's a menace on the tennis court to boot.
She's amazing. This is the 8th year that our university will grant the JOANNE LAZIRKO Award for Excellence in Teaching with Technology. As many of you know, JOANNE LAZIRKO was a lecturer for the School of Business who passed away 10 years ago. This award has since been established in her memory to recognize innovation in the effective use of technologies to promote student engagement, collaboration, active learning, and critical thinking. Recipients receive $1,500, and again, Chancellor Moni will present them.
Thank you, Chia. Associate Professor of Architecture and Urban Planning, Nicole Bouchard, has broken barriers to teaching and learning architecture. Her colleagues said, quote, "The field of architecture has been unable to successfully translate its specific blend of pedagogy and practice into the digital realm for 3 decades. Nicole is paving the way for SARUP faculty to use technology in ways that ultimately ensure student success. Challenged by the pandemic, Nicole crafted new assignments and activities that used Zoom, Instagram, Miro boards, smartphones, and other ways not only in her department, but in her field has not been able to do successfully heretofore. Her innovative design integrating technology was anchored in ensuring accessibility, individual accountability, and constant creativity along with critical exchange in our community. It resulted in her students' curiosity, engagement, and exceptional learning being elevated. Will you all please help me congratulate Nicole as she makes her way to the stage?
And now we recognize the LGBTQ plus champion of the year. This award is given to an individual or group that demonstrates commitment to improving climate, diversity, and inclusivity at UWM, has introduced new or improved existing policies and practices to positively affect LGBTQ plus students and employees, has infused LGBTQ plus inclusion into existing campus initiatives, works to increase awareness in issues that affect LGBTQ plus individuals, provides administrative, institutional, and personal support to LGBTQ plus campus constituents, and or engages in advocacy activities beyond the scope of their job. And Chancellor Mone, this award includes $1,500 and a certificate as well.
Terrific. Thank you, Chia. Clinical Assistant Professor of Social Work, Devin Thomas, has a demonstrated commitment to improving climate, diversity, and inclusivity at UWM by advocating for LGBTQ plus students. Devin's nominator said, quote, "In her role, she connects students interested in LGBTQ plus issues with field placements related to HIV, AIDS, reproductive health, domestic violence, mental health services, youth programming, and medical health care," unquote. Devin not only educates students, but also her colleagues. She introduced pronoun awareness to the school, and administratively, she's changed everyday tasks like paperwork and surveys to become more gender inclusive. Devin has incorporated language in school documents and supports visual LGBTQ plus representation, such as the pride flag in the building. We're grateful that Devin shares her abundant knowledge about LGBTQ plus issues with the school and campus communities. Thank you for your contributions, Devin, and please come forward.
The final award this afternoon is the 2021 Ernest Spades Plaza honoree. The Ernest Spades Plaza, the open air north of this building, as you all walk through, is named in honor of the late Ernest Spades. He was a professor of educational psychology and assistant chancellor for student affairs from 1970 to 1979. He initiated the Department of Learning Skills and Experimental Program in higher education and played a major role in developing programs for minority and disadvantaged students at UWM. Since that time, the two organizations were reorganized, renamed, and eventually combined. It was known as the Academic Opportunity Center for many years. Then it changed to the Office of Central Advising. Today, it is known as Pathway Advising. True to its origins, the Pathway Advising provides access to UWM for students who have academic potential, but whose prior education may not have adequately prepared them for college. Each year since 1994, the UWM community has been invited to nominate individuals who have made significant, enduring, and campus-wide contributions to the growth and development of the university. The Honorary Degrees Committee reviews the nominees and chooses the individuals who receive the award. The individual being recognized, honored today, has had their name mounted on a bronze plate and has been affixed to the permanent marker on the west side of the Spades Plaza. Today's honoree brings the total number of Spades Plaza honorees to 101. In addition to this on-campus recognition, a plaque that highlights the achievements of the 2021 award winner has been prepared and will be given today. It is our pleasure, Chancellor Mone, to present the Ernest Spades Plaza honoree.
Terrific. Thank you, Chia. As I've often said, it's truly the people of this institution who have the greatest impact on campus and on at least thousands of people. While new facilities, buildings are great, and they're often what gets recognized first at our university, it's the people within them who make the enduring contributions. At UWM, a very select number of individuals are recognized as examples of what our university values the most. Here are the Ernest Spades Plaza honorees that we're going to say. As Chancellor, it's my privilege to tell you about our 2021 awardee. There's no doubt that Larry G. Martin has strengthened UWM in his many leadership roles. He's included including those of Chair of the Department of Administrative Leadership and Director of Doctoral Studies for Urban Education. Larry has been a nationally acclaimed scholar in urban adult and continuing education leadership for over 35 years. His profile and prolific publications represent a coordinated effort to explore complex urban problems, trends, and issues that inhibit the participation of several populations of learners in adult education programs. Two examples include Larry's influence of positive changes in the Wisconsin GED exam that led to several thousand adults receiving their GED and entering employment and higher education opportunities. Think about the incredible impact that has not just on individuals and organizations, but on their families and others in terms of the ripple effect. In addition, Larry's research on Wisconsin's welfare reform provided insights into the development of economic self-sufficiency among former welfare recipients. These and other large-scale studies gave UWM visibility at the state level and contributed to policy changes. Closer to home, one of his best-known campus leadership activities was as chair of the Task Force on Race and Ethnicity, which included more than 60 faculty, academic staff, classified staff, and students. He used his knowledge of adult and organizational learning to investigate the extent to which the university provided an accepting and accommodating environment for diverse faculty and staff. That work remains with us today and remains vitally important. That report significantly influenced the creation of several new dedicated roles and groups: the Assistant to the Provost for Diversity, the Chancellor-led Council on Inclusion, the Diversity Leadership Committee, and the Chancellor's Ombuds Council. Larry's scholarship, service, and leadership at UWM and beyond have given voice to the voiceless, empowered the disempowered, and informed the uninformed. I can tell you from my own personal experience working with many committees with Larry over the years, including several doctoral committees that he was chairing, his leadership is unique, superb, exemplary, and it's just been a thrill and honor for all of us to have the experience to work with Larry G. Martin. Larry, it is my honor today to call you forward as the recipient of this year's Spates Plaza Award. So that concludes our award ceremony, but our celebration continues with a reception right here and in the adjoining room. My thanks to Chia Vang. So well done, Chia. We can give you an applause now. She kept the program on schedule, and to, of course, all of our staff members who lend a hand before, during, and after our ceremony. Let's hear it for all of them. I want to give my special thanks to Tammy Howard in the Secretary of University's office for all of her behind-the-scenes work on logistics and contacts to make today's event a reality. Let's hear it for Tammy, please. And my final recognition goes to Bonnie Halverson for scripting this event, which could not have happened without her incredible help. Bonnie, thank you. Now I'd like to ask all of our award winners, the people who have made and continue to make UWM an outstanding public research university, to please rise so that we can offer you a final round of applause, and then we'll go over to the right-hand side, my right hand, your left-hand side, for a group photo. But first, let's stand and acknowledge one more time these award winners. Terrific. It's so nice to be back. Thanks, everybody. Award winners, please join me over here under the star emblem, and we'll have our picture taken.